it is, y'all? It is your old boy Pilk, and I'm coming back at you today with more Danmachi. Now, today we're going to be talking about Boss 1-7, but you'll notice that we are basically using the same team that we used in yesterday's video. Bam! But one exception. If you guys haven't checked your bins today, this is super important, especially if you're like brand new at the game. This is massive, y'all. They did this for us last year, and I'm so stoked because they did it again. If you've checked your bins, you should have this bell completely maxed out, completely free, 100% ready to go. And that's perfect for today's event. And it's actually pretty, like, coincidental, all things considered, because, well, you almost need him for this event, or you need someone like him for this event. So let's go ahead and jump in here and talk about this. But you'll notice the team is exactly the same. I'm using the same armor, the same weapons, the same everything. The only exception is one. Line I moved to turn 2, and I'm using the defensive Haruhime as turn 1. And then that Argo Bell, he's here instead of Hermes. That's really the only difference in this team. So a lot of the attacks, a lot of the team build, a lot of everything else is going to be very similar. Now, their tactics on this team are going to be different, but that has nothing to do with the fact that this is an Earth-favored event. You'll notice that, like, physical is down 10%, magic is down or up 10%. So this is something you want to use a physical team for, if at all possible. Though, if I'm honest, that's so easy to debuff. Magic team should be fine. Notice it also favors Earth, but we're using fire because when it's 10% like this, it doesn't really matter. Even with your free-to-play team, it doesn't really matter. Honestly, it really doesn't. It's the difference between like 1, maybe 2 turns tops. And in fact, I'll discuss at the end of this, there's a situation where this team actually could S-clear this based on what we're doing here. And I'll talk about that at the end. But first, let's go ahead and continue on with this. Now, I'm going to do the Winter Haruhime's defensive buff here. This is going to basically make sure that everybody's taking as little damage as possible. And everybody's going to do their general buff stack. It is worth noting that this bell does a 3-2-1 build, whereas everyone else is pretty much a 1-2-3 build. So that means he's going to do skill 3, then 2, then 1. And I'll explain why that's a thing here in a moment, because it's very, very, very important you build him out correctly. Obviously, for obvious reasons, he's going to hit harder, but there's also something very special he does. Okay? Turn 2. We're going to grab Line. We're going to do Spotlight. Normally, I would do skill 3 with this bell, but I'm going to do skill 2. Now, that is a fast skill, so actually I take it back. I'm going to do skill 3, and I'm going to do skill 2 on turn 3, and I'll explain why here in a moment. Argo is going to go ahead and do skill 2, as is Zard. Those are big debuffs. Those are going to be really nice. Just help us get out a little bit of extra damage. Okay? Now, if you are following along, you will note that the newer bell that we're using, not Argo Bell, not the one we just received, but the this bell right here, he does do an extra attack, and he buffs it every other turn. So that does mean that basically this turn, we're not going to get that extra attack. So it is what it is. It is fine. We're going to want to do this right here, Ring Trial. Because if you notice, pretty much everybody has a debuff on them of Dex and Thunder Resistance down. And that's going to cause us to take a ton, and I do mean a ton, of damage. Also, the reason we're going to do skill 1 with this bell is because they're going to buff Strength and Magic, and if we just deal with that, it's going to hurt a lot. So we want to make sure that we use this bell to remove their debuffs. If you're using maximum broken units, you don't really need to worry about that. But if you're using like level 60 to like +2, +3, you definitely do want to do something like that. Now, it doesn't mean you have to use this exact bell. You can use anybody who removes debuffs. It'd be fine. Even the Winter Haruhime would be just fine here. She'd be stellar for this job. But that's the tactic I'm going to go with. Now, you do 100% need to remove Strength and Magic buffs. If you don't, you're going to hate life. I emphasize that very strongly because it's very coincidental that we just got this bell, and I'm going to talk about this event today. So make sure you're doing that. Zard, I'm just going to go ahead and do skill 3 with him. Really nothing special. And we're going to do the 40% debuff with Haruhime. It's going to be very, very important. Mostly because if you don't do that, we're going to take way too much damage. Now, I don't mind these double-digit hits that we're taking. That's going to give us opportunities to counter. But with our guard rate on Argo Bell, he's not going to be countering very much, and that's going to hurt us. We do want to counter, and to do so, we have to take a little tiny bit of damage. But, you know, you're going to have to at some point, like, choose between, am I going to take extra damage to retaliate, or is it just too dangerous to take that level of damage? In this case, I actually probably have too strong of a defensive item on him. I might want to take it off a little bit and let him take a little bit more damage to get counters, but that is what it is. We're going to skip to Yosuga with Haruhime. We're going to go back to skill 1, and we're just going to spam skill 1 with this bell. Same with this bell, and I'm going to rebuff skill 1 with Zard, because that allows him to do his extra attack. Basically, from this point on, every third turn, we're going to do skill 1. After that, we're going to do skill 3, and then, you know, soldier on. Basically, what we're going to do is we're going to build up to a quad SA. And I do emphasize a quad SA. Quad SA is going to be really important to our long-term goals for this team, because we need to basically hit them with everything we got. Everything we got. So let's do it here. Okay? Skill 3 with Haruhime, skill 1 with those two, just spam those attacks, and mainly because, like I said, with Argo Bell, that removes strength and magic buffs, and that's going to be really important. Zard's going back to skill 3, and he's really the only one that's changing, and that's just because skill 1 rebuffs the extra attacks, skill 3 does the damage. So basically on turn 7, we're going to go back and rebuff it, and then turn, 10, and then so on and so forth. Basically until we get the quad SA, and then at that point we're just going to kind of hammer down. Alright, so this is perfect. So we're going to keep doing skill 3 with Haruhime, 1, 1, and then back to 3 with Zard. Let's go. Now, once again, you will notice that we have some debuffs on us again. I'm not terribly worried about the debuffs, with the exception that Haruhime is taking some excess damage. If I feel like she's in trouble, I could do skill 2 with Bell. And in fact, I think I'm going to... Let's see. What are her debuffs? What are her debuffs? She's the main concern here. So, Endurance and Magic Resist are down 2 turns. I'm going to go ahead and do this, just to get that out there, and then basically continue on. Now, turn 7, I believe we have to rebuff. Yeah. So, Abrasion is 1 turn left, so we're going to rebuff that with Zard. Let's go. So, basically with Zard, we're going to do, like, 1 turn, turn 1, and then 2 turns, turn 3, and then back to 1 turn, turn 1. And we're just basically going to continue that going forward. Now, the downside is here, you will notice that because I did remove their debuffs, we're taking a tiny bit of extra damage. I'm going to go ahead and up their critical rate. And I'm going to go back to do skill 1 with him. And skill 3 with Zard. So, you want to, like, basically balance it out. You don't want to take zeros like I'm taking here. That costs you in counters, and you definitely, especially after the quad SA, you definitely want to do counters. Big time you want to do counters. But if I'm completely honest here, for this team, it's not the end of the world. I'm not going for an S clear. I think I did talk about it, but I'll cover it one more time here after this run and show you this team is actually capable of an S clear. One minor modification I've got to make to the team. Two very minor modifications I have to make to the team. And this team can finish this. S clears don't lose any units and end on turn 9. So we'll talk about that here in a moment. First things first, let's get back down to it. And I believe 11 is actually going to be our double SA. If you do the modification I'm going to talk about, you can get a double SA turn 9. Actually, you could probably get it even sooner than that, maybe even as early as turn 8, if you're very, very, very aggressive about it. But for our purposes, it's not the end of the world. I'm going to go ahead and rebuff skill 1 here, because that's going to be really, really, really important to our long-term game. And yeah, let's go. All right. So like I said, turn 11 is going to be the quad SA. It would have been turn 10 had I put Line on the front lines, but I didn't really have the availability because of how much damage we were taking. I didn't feel comfortable or confident in that tactic. So let's go. Now, quad SA, you will notice here that this attack with this bell does physical, magic, and fire resistance down 50%. Everybody else is going to do so much more because of that. Now, Argo Bell doesn't have anything special, and Zard will actually debuff strength and magic down 50%, and and will give himself 100% strength with physical magic resistance, 50% to himself as well. So that is a thing, but it really doesn't affect everybody else. So it, like, I mean, it does, but it's also a debuff. It doesn't. You could probably fit somebody on here that did something a little more offensive, but I mean, it is what it is at the end of the day. Okay. Haruhime is going to give everybody 100% strength and magic. He's going to do all the big debuffs. And then the other two are just kind of be here for damage. So not quite half a mil, but remember, he's only +2, so that's really good for him. Let's see what Argo Bell does. Bearing in mind this guy's free. Nice. 600k plus almost 700k in one situation. So that's very good. And compared to Zard, remember Zard's only +2. All right, let's just get on with it. Actually, Zard hit for about the same. That just tells you how much of a beast Zard really is. Now, we are going to do this combo attack. Combo attack should hit for about 150k. Yep. And we've got a couple of stragglers. Now, I do want to emphasize here, if we had gotten more counters out, that would not be the case. They'd be dead. They would be gone. But we did kind of negate our counters to make this happen. So you could build this team out a little bit more intelligently and make that work. Also bear in mind that you could get the SA a lot sooner, and I'll show you how in just a second. But we didn't lose anybody this turn. We're great there. Here we go. Let's jump back over here and talk about the team. So this will be a nice A clear. And the really awesome part about this is you have to finish it within 9 turns. So actually, if I lose somebody, since this is cumulative, I don't really need to like tick that mark anymore. All I gotta do is finish it in 9 turns. So if I wanted to do that, let's go back in here. All I've got to do, I emphasize all I've got to do, I could put Finn probably on the Winter Haruhime. Actually, I put him on Line, and then put Line on the front line, and then put Winter Haruhime on the second line, kind of like I did yesterday. And then on this Haruhime, instead of running this anti-stun Anya, I don't believe they did. Because she's only 75% and I never saw any stun. I don't think they'd run any ailments there. So instead of her, I actually could put the Casino Seer if you have her. She's 100% SAH charge. If I had Casino Seer on this Haruhime and Finn on this Line, and then Line in slot 1, said 2 changes, that's 3 minor changes. That would have been an S-clear team. This is an S-clear team. Just sans 1 unit. And it's not even favorable, guys. It's not even favorable to their element. That is how easy these EX missions are. I'll be back tonight, guys. We're going to finish off Boss 1-8, and hopefully have some time tonight to finish off Boss 1-9 before we start streaming Phasmo. But for now, guys, that's the video. Like, comment, share. We will be streaming Phasmophobia on Twitch tonight. It is my first ever VR Phasmo stream. VR horror game greatness, guys. If you are at all interested, make sure you join us for that. Link will be in the description down below. Like, comment, share. We should start around 8:30 to 9 p.m.-ish tonight, Eastern time, whatever that is your time. Hope to see y'all there. Catch y'all soon.